So a technique to help with challenging negative thoughts is kind of what we call thought court. So on the right is kind of evidence against that thought, and then on the left is the thought that we are challenging. So we kind of take that thought to court. So saying I'm useless, we might think about like evidence against that thought and ask the young person to kind of put a list of things that is kind of against why they might be useless. So, for example, I'm a good friend. I listened to Sophie on the phone last night and she said she felt better after talking to me. My gran is getting older and finds it hard to get out. I go around once a week and help her out. And I am a great dancer. So, kind of all this evidence to suggest that they're not actually useless. Because sometimes when we get it written out, we kind of realise that there are a lot of evidence against like the initial thought that we might not realise. And then kind of another way we can challenge negative thinking is by having a positive attitude. And I know this kind of sounds really simple, but it's really effective kind of way of changing those kind of thought patterns in the brain. And we can do this kind of by encouraging use of positive self-talk statements. So like a positive manifestation such as my thoughts matter, I am enough, I have a kind heart, I've got this, I can do hard things, I'm filled with purpose, I'm strong, I'm allowed to take up space, I am loved, and kind of just anything that fits with that young person. They might have some that they do themselves or feel like some fit with them better. So yeah, that's a really good one of like rewiring the brain. Then an exercise which is really positive to do is kind of a magic mirror of compliments. So um, imagine kind of you meeting yourself. What like are 10 nice things that you would say about yourself that you're good at, your talents, anything that you kind of feel that you like about yourself. What compliments would you give about your values, manners, or appearance? So this we could just do this activity really quickly if you've got some like a piece of paper and kind of just jotting down a few things that you like about yourself. Um, if you feel comfortable to do so, just give a couple of minutes for that. You're welcome to put it in the chat, but no pressure. It is good to do things like this when we're asking it of the young people because it kind of puts you in their position and because it is a kind of an uncomfortable thing to do sometimes, talk about things that we like about ourselves because we are creatures of being negative towards ourselves. But it's yeah, it's good to kind of do things that we're asking of our young people as well. Give it another minute or so for that.
Someone is typing, but there is no pressure to post this in the chat at all. But just like Liv said, it's about having that sort of empathy and understanding what that experience of doing this would be like for one of the young people that you're working with.
So yeah, it can be really hard to do, but hopefully it feels good to appreciate yourself and recognize all of your qualities, and maybe saying them out loud or encouraging our young people to kind of say them out loud in the morning or the evening. Because as we begin to kind of say this out loud, it becomes more automatic and helps to challenge and change that negative thinking in our heads.
Okay, thanks, Liv. So mindfulness is one thing that if we practice and appreciate the benefits, it will help empty our buckets and open up those taps if we're thinking back to our stress buckets. So it's something particularly that can help with stress because as we know, sleep and being stressed affects our ability to retain information, stay focused, and handle those stressful situations. So it's something that can really help if we can, practice some of this with our young people, encourage the use of it, and it's something that with practice we get better at using and better at doing. There's two apps on this side as well, so Calm and Every Mind Matters are apps that can support with mindfulness and grounding techniques as well. And of course, there's loads of stuff on YouTube on mindfulness. So it's about young people finding what works for them. There's a little just image on the right side of the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 breathe in. That's something that you can, try with young people, try at informed time or any time that you've got, is something that can help ground and help manage that stress, help them sleep better, which is going to help. Okay. So just a little bit next about initiating conversations. Excuse me. So if anything we've talked about so far has highlighted anything, or if you do want to suggest some of the strategies that we've discussed using, just some tips on how we might initiate some of those conversations with young people. And this is, of course, as well something that you might guide some parents through as well to help them initiate some conversations about their mental health and how they're doing.
So a couple of ways that we can do this is by being curious, so asking open-ended questions rather than closed to elicit more information. For example, kind of tell me more about that. And validating, so centering the young person's emotions and offering empathy, if appropriate, reassuring them and how they're feeling is normal. Affirming, so giving reassurance, thanking them for talking to you, done a really good job about talking to you about your kind of big feelings. That might be difficult for you, and giving positive feedback helps you to reconnect and confirms that telling you was the right thing to do, even if what was said was concerning or upsetting to hear. And planning, so gently encourage your young person to engage with the question of what they would like to happen next, but if they can't, offering them some space and time to do so, and kind of time to have another conversation at a different time, what kind of works for them and they're comfortable with. Silence, so quite often we want to jump in and fix the problem, and not actually offering space for the young person to kind of like think and process what you've said. So yeah, offering that space of silence and being comfortable with it. And knowing that the young person will always speak first if they're kind of feeling uncomfortable with that. But a lot of the time it's good for processing and allowing them to think, and encouraging the young person to think of their own solutions and who can support you, what you can do to like make yourself feel better today, which this may not be how you would phrase it, and it's fine to kind of whichever works for you. Like you kind of know what works for you and what doesn't.
Okay, so we're coming up to the end. So just to summarize and kind of just brainstorm and list like some ideas for everyday classroom strategies that you might be able to support with. So reducing unnecessary pressure. So just things like breaking down tasks into smaller, more manageable steps. Offering flexible kind of deadlines on homeworks and things when that's appropriate. And just normalizing mistakes that come up as well as part of learning. Building emotional safety. So things like greeting that student by name when you see them, in the corridor or when they come in to speak to you, and just using calm, predictable routines as well in the classroom. Obviously, what schools do a lot of already is those practical study skills, so getting revision plans in there, and helping them with that, with realistic goals that they can set as well. Supporting neurodiverse learners. So that could be reducing the sensory overload where that's possible. Again, providing structure, routine, using visual supports, and offering alternative ways to demonstrate understanding. And then just the last one there, communicating with compassion. So using curiosity rather than judgment, validating before doing any problem solving, and sometimes asking, what's getting in the way, what's going on for you, and things like that as well. Okay. And then as well, just a bit of a summary too on whole school and college approaches that can support young people with academic stress. So just that whole school ethos about well-being, promoting balance, sleep and healthy routines for young people, and throughout the year, not just at exam periods as well. Even things like, I sit up all night, or whatever it might be, just making sure that we're not glorifying overworking as well. Reviewing homework and assessment load is something that can be hard to do, but maybe building in protected no homework periods and things like that can be supportive. Strengthening that pastoral and academic communication. So having quick referral pathways, having a shared understanding of stress indicators, doing regular check-ins for maybe students that are maybe more vulnerable or have already kind of been noticed that might struggle. Creating our student voice opportunities is brilliant for times like exam stress and speaking to young people about what they think will actually help them. So getting focus groups together of young people that want to get their voices heard, maybe doing some surveys across the years to think about how young people are feeling. And then co-designing any wellbeing initiatives as well. Getting young people involved in that is something that during exam time might be a nice helpful distraction as well for those pupils. And engaging families as well. So if possible, doing workshops or offering some time on thinking with parents or carers about how they can support with revision without putting too much pressure on the young people, having clear communication and about expectations with parents and carers, and encouraging as well those balanced routines at home. Okay. And
So if we kind of come back to the question we had at the beginning, how confident do you feel supporting young people with academic stress? Could people maybe pop in the chat where they are on this scale? So popping in a colour. Maybe it's the same, maybe it's different. Kind of thinking about if you feel any more confident now supporting young people with academic stress, and if you feel like this has been helpful for you, or what might have been kind of better, or you'd like to know more of.
Just got a couple of people typing away. Someone said they are rating themselves as green and they love the slide with all the sentence starters and the different sort of tips on that last slide, and are giving a bit of a thank you. I've just also popped in a link in the chat to our feedback form. We really do value your feedback and helping us sort of improve and evaluate our webinar offer. So it would be really appreciated if you could fill that in for us. Someone else just type in there. I'll mute my mic for a second.
So kind of thinking about what next. So if a young person is kind of using most of their free time to revise, affecting other areas of their life, for example, sleep and appetite, and stop doing things that they enjoy, so such as like seeing friends, playing video games, and are extremely self-critical, maybe thinking about speaking to a senior mental health lead at school to discuss this young person, as they might kind of be, experiencing academic stress.
Oh, someone else has just popped that they're also feeling green. They love the thought court and the conversation starters, and just a thanks for today. It's been informative and helpful. Over to you.
Thank you. So just some other support and services we'll just list over the next few slides so you've got that information. So there's anytime support on this one. So we've got Shout, we've got Kooth, we've got Childline, which have different support options for children and young people. Kooth have the anonymous kind of website, they've got a counsellor online that young people can access, they've got self-help resources on there. That's maybe one that you've heard a lot about, which is great. Self-help, so Silver Cloud as well. Silver Cloud is something that we offer, so if you are interested in any of the young people, we can help you to sign up with that.
And then in terms of kind of groups and drop-ins, we've got Trafford Directory, the Proud Trust, Trafford Talk Shop, Spectrum Gaming, 42nd Street, and Gorso Studios. And then some parent carer support. We've got Old Trafford Wellbeing Centre, Young Minds website. I'm a parent getting me out of here courses, if you've heard of that before. And there's kind of a QR code there to scan for the Trafford Family Help tablet.
Yeah, so there are loads of services. There's Trafford Sleep Services, Greater Manchester Autism Consortium, the Proud Trust, Spectrum Gaming and Trafford Young Carers. So if you are struggling with finding anything, or if you want more ideas, or if something that maybe you've looked at and it's not the right thing, you can always get in touch with us through our email address, trafford.skill@mft.nhs.uk, and we can provide support on anything. If there's anything not there, and anything more information you would like about, that's completely fine to do. And then just, for more urgent support, there is, so the advice now is to call 111, and then there's the mental health option to call that. There's Propius there, and the number and details for them as well. Okay.
So if anyone has any questions at all, feel free to ask them in the chat, along with feedback. So there'll be a link in the chat to access our feedback form, and request the webinar recording and slides. James is going to put in. So yeah, if anyone's kind of got any feedback for us, or any questions, please use this kind of space to ask them. And I hope you kind of enjoyed the webinar today and found it helpful and informative.
So that link for the feedback form is already in the chat. Like I said, I really do appreciate that feedback. And if you do have any questions, just pop those in the chat or raise your hand, and we'll come to you to hear those. But if not, thank you very much for coming to our webinar today. If there's anything else you'd like to find out or any feedback you'd like to give, please fill in that feedback form. But yeah, and thanks very much to Liv and to Rebecca for presenting the webinar today. Fab job, brilliant.
Thank you. Thank you to Liv and Shane.
Thanks everyone. So our next free webinar is Supporting Students with Low Mood, and this will be on the 10th of March at 3:30. So it'd be great to see some of you if you can join us for that one as well. But yeah, it's been great. Thanks everyone for coming, and thanks to Jane and Rebecca as well.
Yep, so we'll just give people a minute or so to either leave the webinar or just ask any questions. I'll give it a couple of minutes and then we'll end the event. Okay, I'm just going to press a button to end the event. Thanks everyone for attending today. Thank you so much. Bye.